Bob the Building. He's a building. Bob the Building. Oh no!
It's Breaking the News with Des Clark.
I am Des Clark, and this is Breaking the News, the show that breaks the week's news and asks four opinionated panellists to put it back together again. With me are four cracking comics. On my right, we have Felicity Ward and Mark Nelson, and facing them are Kathleen Hughes and Chris Forbes. In the news this week, Scottish Conservative MSP Russell Findlay has announced that he's running to succeed Douglas Ross, stating that he is the only candidate who can continue the party's proud tradition of only having leaders with two first names. A book has been returned to Orkney Library more than 47 years late. When asked to comment, Orkney's chief librarian said, "Shh." And for just £5,000, you can now buy a used carriage from the Glasgow subway. And if you miss out this time, the offer will come round again in about 8 minutes' time. Right, you met the panel. Let's crack on with round one. This is the Broken News Round, where our teams have to guess two major stories of the week that have been mashed together into one single news headline. So, Felicity and Mark, can you tell me what this is all about?
The US Vice President Kamala Harris says she's secured enough support to replace
Keir Starmer. Just 7 Labour MPs rebelled, voting in favour of
Donald Trump. Ms Harris pledged
a show of strength
to unite her party and defeat
the government.
Well, there we go. What do we think then, Mark? Any ideas what that first story might be?
This is the news that Joe Biden has pulled out of the presidential race and has been replaced by his Vice President, Kamala Harris.
That is the right answer. Well done, Mark. Yes, indeed. US President Joe Biden has endorsed his Vice President, Kamala Harris, to replace him after he pulled out of the race for the White House. Ms Harris secured the support of a majority of Democratic delegates to become the party's nominee. Kamala Harris's grandparents' tiny village in India has claimed her as one of their own. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's mother's birthplace, the Isle of Lewis, has said, "Donald who?" Don't know the guy. Hey, well done, Mark. Right answer. What are you thinking? Were you surprised by this news then from the Democratic campaign?
Not really, to be honest. I think everyone could see the writing was on the wall, and Biden came out and made a statement. I don't even think they needed to get him to make a statement. Just tell him he has made a statement. In fact, just tell him he was never actually president all along. He won't know.
Oh, what do you think then, Flick? Were you surprised by this news from the Democratic campaign?
I wasn't. It is a really historical moment, though. Not that a black woman is now running for president, that for the first time in history, a white man has admitted he's not as qualified for the job and stepped down. Like, absolutely unprecedented. Unprecedented.
Yeah. Chris, what about you? What do you think? Were you surprised by this news from the Democratic campaign?
The thing that surprised me the most was, a lot of people don't follow the American political carry-on as much as others would believe. So I heard a Scottish guy in the pub the other day saying, "I can't believe Calvin Harris is the new Democratic." Well, I thought he was a DJ, I think he was like, first a reality TV star, now a DJ. There's some banging jingles for the campaign,
What do you think about this then, Felicity? What qualities do you see Kamala Harris bringing to this race?
I mean, in comparison to Trump, the list just goes on and on. A reliable bladder. More hair, a lack of sexual assault charges, a high school diploma. Like, it just goes on and on and on.
Kathleen, what's your take on this? What qualities do you see Kamala Harris bringing to the race?
She has a kind of fun and energy. It feels like there was a family gathering and we all went round and we had to listen to all of Granddad's stories where he forgot everyone's name and then he went to bed and Kamala got the rosé out and we're having a nice time now. That's the vibes that she's bringing.
This could be it, yeah, we could go that way. But Kamala Harris needs a presidential slogan. So let's ask you first, Mark. What should Kamala's presidential campaign slogan be?
All she needs to do is just hold up a picture of Trump and just go, seriously.
Well done, Felicity and Mark. You get 2 points for that. It was the latest from the US presidential race. Right, over to you, Kathleen and Chris. What was the other story we were after?
This was Keir Starmer suspending MPs for voting against the end to the two-child benefit cap.
That is the right answer, yes. 7 Labour MPs have been suspended after voting against the government for an amendment to scrap the two-child cap. MPs rejected the SNP amendment by 363 votes to 103, and it marks the first major test of the new Labour government's authority. Many Labour MPs wanted to scrap the policy, but couldn't support the SNP amendment. It's because they noticed a small print that said, "Aye, and Scotland becomes independent too." What do you think, Chris, of Sir Keir Starmer's reaction to the vote?
I wasn't too surprised, really. It's just the kind of reaction I'd expect from a Tory Prime Minister. Wait a minute! Wait a minute!
Been rumbled.
No, it was quite Darth Vader-esque. Like, just all the language being used, and just it's such a harsh and kind of, "You have failed me for the last time, rebels." It was quite daunting, really.
Well, it's interesting that you should say it was a Darth Vader reaction because all of the rebels were allies of Jeremy Corbyn, who looks like Obi-Wan Kenobi. They are literally the Rebel Alliance. They are literally the Rebel Alliance. It feels like a really strong start and nothing like the government that we've had for 13 years. That's my Chewbacca impression.
What do you think of Sir Keir Starmer's reaction to the vote, Mark?
It's a surprise, but listen, do we really need the two-child cap? I mean, like, as we all know, the third child doesn't need paid for, does it? I mean, that's... Like, the third child, like, this is a reason why me and my wife never had a third. Well, that and I caught my testicles on a ladder once. But, but you don't... No, it's not a show of strength. It's not. What's the punishment? I looked up what it means when you get the whip taken away. Do you know what it means? It means you don't get the weekly circular, right? And you don't have to go to debates. Oh, no. Oh my God. I'm still getting paid and I don't have to go to my work. Oh, please don't punish me anymore, Keir. Oh.
Some commentators say this is a show of strength from Sir Keir Starmer. So, could you tell us about a time that you put your foot down? Kathleen, anything come to mind for you?
Well, I'm a chronic people pleaser, so no. But I did stand up for myself recently. I didn't say sorry when someone else was in my way. Crazy. And by in my way, I mean they had put their foot down on my foot. And if you're listening, I'm sorry that I screamed in pain. That was out of line. I'm really, really sorry. I'll never do it again.
You've reflected on it now. Chris, what about you? People are saying that this could be seen as a show of strength from Sir Keir Starmer. So could you tell us about a time where you put your foot down?
My wife is English, okay? So our daughter, in my wife's eyes, could technically support Scotland and England at the Euros. And as it was coming to the final, Eleanor said, "I think you should sit and watch the game with your daughter and she can wear her England top." And that's when I'm sorry, I really have to put my foot down here. Like, I was indulging it, but that's too far. That's too far. But the thing about a man putting their foot down is my wife's quite small, but her metaphorical feet are much bigger than mine. So she's able to kick my foot aside quite easily. And the three of us watched the final in matching Harry Kane strips. And, you know, it was... it failed. I don't know.
What do you think about this then, Felicity? Some people are saying that this is a show of strength from Sir Keir Starmer. Could you tell us about a time that you put your foot down, Flick?
Yeah, look, I've got a 4-year-old and I'm very stern with him. I do something called gentle parenting. And so the other day I had to say this, I really put my foot down. I said, honey, when you hit mummy in the skull with a roller skate, I felt sad. And now I'm bleeding a lot. So I need you to go and sit on the reflection step and see if you can think of a different way to express your anger. And if mummy falls down, you call an ambulance. So I really showed him, actually. He got 4 minutes on the step. I did pretty well.
Well done, Kathleen and Chris. You get 2 points for that. It was, of course, the mashup of the latest drama from the US presidential race and the suspension of 7 Labour MPs. And at the end of that round, well done, the teams are all square. Now, much of our news is about public opinion, so to find out what stories people are talking about, we spoke to 2 friends of the show, writer and presenter Alistair Heather and broadcaster and auctioneer Natasha Raskin-Sharp. So, Kathleen and Chris, what do you think Alistair is on about here?
Because of things like Instagram and TripAdvisor, you tend to get hyper-focus, hyper-attention on just a few locations. Meanwhile, they're driving past millions of other really bonny spots. Places like where I stay in Dundee were crying out for more.
I think he's probably talking about the over-tourism protests.
That is a brilliant answer, and it is correct, yes. Barcelona, one of Spain's most beloved cities, made international headlines this week when a group of demonstrators sprayed tourists with water guns. The protests are a call to tackle what's called over-tourism and follow steps by cities such as Amsterdam, Paris, Seville and Venice to regulate or reduce visitor numbers. Over-tourism protesters in Palma walked through the streets of the capital of Mallorca, holding banners saying no to mass tourism, stop private jets, and happy hour 3 till 6 at Kitty O'Shea's. It's a good deal, that. Mark, what do you think? Can you understand the concerns about over-tourism?
I can kind of understand it a wee bit, but I think certain cities that are annoyed about it. I'm like, Amsterdam, right? If you don't want tourists to come, maybe don't dedicate entire streets to legal drugs and strip bars. Because that's a stag do's toffee. Like, that's like... Like, do you know where stag do's never go to? Stoke. Because there's nothing there. So stop taking... And also, Barcelona can shut up as well, right? Their main thing is they want to use their house prices. They don't have enough. There's a house shortage as well, so they want to build more houses. I was there. They've still not even finished off that church. Right, so...
I've been a tourist in Barcelona and I do understand there was one day and it was like sweltering heat. I'm talking, 23, 24 degrees. And I don't know if you've had that up here before, but there was all these like sunburnt English tourists at Gaudi Park leaning against the pillars, and there was a busker playing Imagine by John Lennon, and he just got to the bit where he said, "Imagine all the people living for today," and all these English tourists that looked dead, in unison, just all raised their head and sadly went, "Woo-hoo."
I think we holiday wrong. I think we've got it backwards. For too long we've been going on holiday abroad to nice locations, and we come back and we go, "Oh, I wish I was back there," and you're thinking about it, you got a hangover. I think we should be holidaying in places like Stoke and Dundee, because then you come home and you're pleased. You're never going, "Oh, I wish I was back there,"
Kathleen, where do you think deserves more tourism and why?
I know we have some places in Scotland that have trouble with over-tourism as well, and I don't think we should necessarily discourage tourists from going there, but I do think you shouldn't be allowed to only go to places that romanticise Scotland. So if you go to like Skye or Harris, you also have to go to Cumbernauld. You can't appreciate Scotland until you've been to Scotland, do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Felicity, where do you think deserves more tourism and why?
I am not just saying this because I'm here, but Glasgow. I cannot tell you how much I love this city and the people in it. I caught a train up from London last night. I met a woman at the kiosk. She just had like this navy blue velvet top, double denim. She's in her 60s. She's just incredible, right? Then I saw her when we got off the train giving money to a homeless person, and I'm like, "Liz," and she's like, "Ray, you're coming for a drink with me." And then we went to a bar, told each other our life stories, and I'm like, "Peace, see you, Liz. You are just so weird, waiting to be weird at any moment. You are my people. I love you. I would live here if I could handle 4-hour sunsets. Honestly. I love you so much."
I'm so glad you met my mum.
Yeah.
Tackling over tourism is the right answer. Well done, Kathleen and Chris. Felicity and Mark, it's your turn now. What do you think Natasha is talking about here?
Here in Glasgow, you can't stand still in the street for 5 minutes without someone approaching and randomly telling you their life story or what's going on with them. So I'm absolutely delighted that this research is coming out of Scotland. The fact that we're a nation of absolute chatters, wholly unsurprised.
Thank you to Natasha Raskin-Sharp for reading Felicity Ward's mind.
Is it about, there's a study about chimpanzees that they talk similarly to humans? There's a lot of...
Yeah, that's a great...
finish that sentence, you get it.
That's a chimp would have finished it, but I'll go for it. Yes, this is the story that researchers have found chimpanzees in the wild take it in turns to speak during conversations in the same way that humans do. Scientists at the University of St Andrews have discovered wild East African chimpanzees converse in ways similar to humans, which they discovered when one chimp asked, "Is it a blue or green bin day today?" So, what do you make then of this research coming out of St Andrews?
I think it's incredible. I mean, firstly, we should know that we're actually all pronouncing it incorrectly. We're in Britain, so it's not chimpanzees, it's chimpanzees.
Mark Nelson, what do you make of this research out of St Andrews?
I think it's really, really cool, actually. I think it's pretty fascinating. I wouldn't put all my faith in it because chimpanzees clearly are very, very clever. So I wouldn't be surprised if the chimps were watching the scientists speaking to each other going, "This time, leave 8 seconds between it. Go on." That'll mess them up.
I think the thing that stood out for me was that the researchers said that they take turns to speak in the same way as humans. And I think they're actually giving humans too much credit there. I don't really think we do, speak in turns. And I think that's probably the problem with having done the study in St Andrews. They're maybe just too polite and conservative up there. They need to compare them to some humans in the rest of Scotland and they'll realise these chimpanzees are even more advanced than we expected.
Well, there you go. Obviously, we're talking about that link between humans and chimpanzees, but what could we learn from chimpanzees?
Well, chimpanzees only give birth every 5 years and typically will stop at the second. Largely because of Labour's two-child benefit.
Chris, I'll turn to you for this one. The research we're looking at is all about the rules of conversation. What is your golden rule for a great conversation?
No religion, no politics, no old firm. I know the first and the third kind of link. But another key thing that's mentioned a lot is maintaining eye contact. But what people don't also know is that's also a really good trait to then get out of the conversation. Because I hate ending a conversation, I'm too polite. But if I've been maintaining a nice level of it for the duration of the conversation, then I want to leave, I just stop blinking. And then if you're just staring at someone as they talk to you, they leave pretty quickly. And it's really handy.
It's a great tip.
Yeah.
Take that. Kathleen, final thoughts on this to you. We're talking about the rules of conversation. What is your golden rule for a great conversation?
When you're trying to make someone comfortable in a conversation, you need to show a real interest in them. Establish a rapport, ask them about their hobbies, their family, their known associates, where they were on the night of the robbery. It's all the wee details. Yeah.
And there we go. Research into chatty chimpanzees is, of course, the right answer. And 2 points go to Felicity and Mark. You're listening to Breaking the News from BBC Radio Scotland with me, Des Clark. Now, this round is all about who's in the news. I will play you a clip of a mystery person. All you have to do is tell me who it is. Felicity and Mark, who is this?
It is hard because I would love to keep playing, but I can't. I want to play forever. I love the sport.
Yeah, it's Andy Murray. He's decided to retire from tennis after the Olympics.
Is the right answer. Well done, Mark. Yes, Sir Andy Murray has announced that he will retire from tennis after competing in the 2024 Paris Olympics. He has withdrawn from the singles in Paris already, but will play doubles in what will be his 5th and final Olympic Games. Andy Murray has, of course, tried to retire before, but every time he threw in the towel, the ball boy brought it back to him.
It is a shame, Scotland's greatest ever sports person, which I'll admit is a low bar. It's like being named Miss Greggs. But
I won that fair and square, I'll have you know.
Felicity, what is your reaction to Andy Murray's announcement?
I'm absolutely devastated. And I hear that he's also retiring because of a long-standing shoulder injury. That's what happens when for 20 years you carry the hope of an entire nation on there.
It will weigh you down eventually.
Yeah.
Kathleen, what is your reaction to Andy Murray's announcement?
Yeah, I'm pretty devastated. I think he's a proper national hero. And as you say, John Swinney called him Scotland's greatest ever sports person. I think that's impressive. I think that's pretty cool when you think about like Sir Chris Hoy and Sir Alex Ferguson and the fastest man in Scotland. My dad, when someone else reverses into the driveway and he doesn't recognise the car, he's up like a shot.
Chris, could you leave for a bit and bring Duncan Murray into the room? I know he's a good friend of yours. If you don't know, Duncan, of course, is the other Murray brother who we discovered many years later, and we're so honoured that this week he's going to make a guest appearance in Breaking the News. Ladies and gentlemen, Duncan Murray. Well, Duncan, I don't know how you want to take this, but the big announcement from your brother...
Yeah, you know, I think it's about time, really. It's just so boring now that he's been just batting it back and forth. But my main concern is that, you know, he's got 5 kids. I've got 5 nephews and nieces. And that's when he had a bad hip that didn't work. So clearly everything else was working, but I'm worried about the rate of children that are going to appear now. And it's a lot of gifts to buy with just the pocket money Mum gives me. You know, just talk about new balls, please. Just...
Will we care as much about tennis when Andy's gone?
What I truly hope is that my family will start to care less about it. I hope that my mum will just not put absolutely everything into it, because I'd love to spend more time as a family. I'd like her to show some more interest in me. We don't even have Christmas dinner together. What? They go out and practice on Christmas Day because Mum always says Santa hates a sloppy backhand.
Following the announcement, John Swinney hailed Andy Murray as Scotland's greatest ever sportsman. That was right before he was run over in a freak accident by Sir Chris Hoy. Yes, 2 points go to Felicity and Mark. That was, of course, the legend that is Sir Andy Murray. Right, over to you now, Kathleen and Chris. It's your turn. Who is this and why are they in the news?
I love like pottering around and, you know, sorting out drawers and being with my son and my animals and being with my friends. It doesn't take much for me to be happy and content. Like, you know, it's really little things.
This is Adele taking a break from performing.
Brilliant, that is the correct answer. Yes, singer Adele has revealed that she plans to take an extended break from music after her current run of concerts. My tank is quite empty at the minute, the star told a German broadcaster ahead of a 10-date residency in Munich. Adele has spent the past 2 years playing a weekend residency in Las Vegas, recently completing her 90th show at the 4,000 capacity Caesars Palace. Is a break for Adele fair enough? What do you think, Kathleen?
Yeah, I was knackered listening to you say that.
Mark, what do you think then? Adele saying that the schedule's too much, her tank is empty. Is a break fair enough for Adele?
Yeah, I think it is fair enough. Because, you know, I mean, she needs time to go away, you know, relax a bit, and then find someone new, and then have a relationship, and then break up, and then write an album. It was entirely his fault. You know, that's...
Need to repeat that cycle, yeah. Away from music, Chris, what are you thinking? What else would you want to see Adele doing away from music?
I'd like to see her become a magician and actually set fire to the rain. I'm ashamed of myself, okay?
Adele saying she'd want to take an extended career break. Kathleen, if you could take an extended career break, what would you do with it?
I'd go back to college. I'd take a course in plumbing. I would get the qualifications. I'd register as a professional plumber so that I can stand in my own bathroom and say, oh, I've not got the part in the van. It's going to take a couple of days, and save myself the money on the call-out.
I just wanted to just mention very, very quickly on Adele being old and her saying, I'm 36 and old and grumpy. Adele, if you are listening, may I introduce you to a new friend called perimenopause? Honestly, you thought you were old and grumpy then. Are you sick of being the right temperature? Do you hate sleep? When you're interacting with the world, do you go, God, my moods are just a bit too stable? Enjoy perimenopause.
Adele has said that she's going to take a break before creating any new music, saying she's old and grumpy now. The megastar famously names her albums after her age, and following 19, 21, 25 and 30, it's predicted the next one will be called None of Your Business. Don't know why I gave her that voice, no idea. I'm Adele, what you saying to it? Yes, Adele is the right answer, and 2 points go to Kathleen and Chris. It's time now for our final quickfire round, which is all about deciphering the numbers in the news. I will read out a headline. All the teams have to do is fill in the blanks. So get ready, teams. When we run out of time, you'll hear this.
This is a crucial state.
That's Liz Truss there, trying to clean out her fridge. Fingers on your buzzers. Here we go. 250 watt are coming to Scotland. Felicity.
Sunny days over a period of a lifetime.
250 watt are coming to Scotland. I'll give it to Kathleen.
New words that also just mean roll.
No, but a lovely answer. 250 watt are coming to Scotland. Mark.
Is it people called Sebastian to flyer on the Royal Mile?
250 watt are coming to Scotland. Chris.
Confuse political tourists to visit DJ turned politician Calvin Harris's home of Dumfries.
What we're looking for is 250 new zero-emission buses are coming to Scotland.
This is a crucial state.
Oh, there we go. That's the klaxon. Liz has trust. It's all over. And at the end of the quiz, our winners this week are Kathleen Hughes and Chris Forbes. And heartfelt commiserations to Felicity Ward and Mark Nelson. And we'll leave you with the breaking news. Breaking news just in. A health spa boss from the Borders has become the first Scot to row the world's 2 largest oceans. Apparently their biggest challenge was fighting the urge to give somebody a massage whenever they heard whale sounds. The head of the British Army has warned that the UK must be ready for war in 3 years. Edinburgh say they're already prepared for war as long as the enemy arrives at precisely 1 o'clock. And the Royal Mint has announced it won't be making any more 1p's and 2p's this year. The Conservatives said it was typical of a Labour government in power for just 3 weeks and already taking coppers off the streets. The news is broken. I've been Des Clark. Goodbye!